Today we're going to talk about the thing I forgot to mention yesterday. We're going to talk about how my type 2 diabetes is gone. Hello everyone, Semi-Retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. As I said, today we're going to talk about how I no longer have type 2 diabetes. You'll notice I am walking just a little bit slower here. It's not super bad out yet, but I don't know how much this camera picks up. But it is snowing in Omaha, Nebraska. You can see the streets and roads are just starting to get covered. It's certainly not the Snowmageddon event they've been predicting for the last 3 or 4 days, but it is supposed to keep getting colder and snowing harder over the next 24 hours. So we'll see what happens. I definitely wanted to get out here because this is no excuses January to get my walk in. The real hard stuff is coming up later this week because they've revised the forecast again. And today's supposed to be snowy, but you know, like right now, I believe it's 32 or 33 degrees out. So it's not super cold by any stretch of the imagination. But by Friday, they're calling for a high of -5. So that's going to be interesting for the no excuses January challenge. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. It means an awful lot to me that you chose to stop in for just a moment. Why don't you help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life? I am 60 years old. I've been doing the carnivore diet for 20 months. Prior to starting this, well, you can go back and watch yesterday's video and see all the things that I used to have wrong with me. And in 20 months, I've turned it all around from sitting on the couch waiting to die to now I'm out here walking every day. So, as I said, help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. Hit that thumbs up, drop down in the comments and say, "Hi, Bob." And if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you consider doing that? And hit the little bell notification. All these things are absolutely free, but it helps me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. Thanks again for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys. Before I forget, I think this Saturday coming up, which I believe is the 13th, at 2:30, I'm going to have a members only live stream. It's not actually going to be live streamed. I'm going to set up the software and put a link in the members only section of the community tab. And you can click on that link to join the live stream, but we're not actually going to be broadcasting. I might record it and put those discussions up for members only. So this, either way, if you want to see it or if you want to be there or watch the replay, it'll be in the members only section. But let's talk about this diabetes thing. I mean, I'm 3 minutes into my walk and haven't even gotten to the main subject for today. Probably because I'm walking slow up this first hill. I showed you this yesterday, but there's no reason why I can't show you the first hill again. There's my footprints coming up the sidewalk. We'll get to my thoughts on these boots a little later in the video. But yeah, when I was first diagnosed, with type 2 diabetes, my A1C was 10.3. That's certainly not the highest I've ever heard of, but that's getting up there in the you're really doing damage to your body range. And of course, I got all the same stupid advice that every doctor always gives these days. You know, take this drug and follow my dietitian's directives. And we've talked about this before, but I'm going to go over it again today. You know, she gave me what she called the carb-controlled diet. And what that was 3 meals a day of 60 to 75 carbs each meal. And then 3 snacks of 15 carbs each. And the theory behind that was if you put the same number of carbs in your body every day, multiple times a day, you would end up being able to better control your diabetes, with, of course, the help of the medicines they gave you. And in all fairness, it did work somewhat. You know, I can't say it's completely and totally bogus advice, because it did work a little bit. My A1C dropped down, if I'm remembering right, it was somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5 most of the time when I went to get checked. I know it was below 9, because once you got below 9, if you were above 9, the diabetes nurse at the doctor's office would call you twice a week and ask you what you ate. So to get rid of the phone calls, you wanted to make sure you got below 9. But like I said, I was hovering around the 8 mark, sometimes some months below, some months above. The thing that got me was that, you know, whenever I was below, you know, I was in the 7.5 to 7.9 range, doctor would always say, "Good job, keep it up." And if I was at 8 or above, he'd say, "Well, you may want to watch it and work on that a little bit." But he never actually gave me any additional advice on how to watch that or work on that a little bit. So it's, I find it very interesting. Now, we all know, or we should know, that 5.6 on the A1C is about the cutoff for diabetes, not diabetes. Of course, you want to get your A1C as low as possible, because anything, as it starts to elevate, you're doing damage to your body. But I don't believe carnivores have to worry about it, because the thing that, if you think about it, the A1C is a 3-month average. So to get a 5.6 average, your blood sugar has to be going up and dropping back down again. So you're getting the spikes and the valleys that average out to 5.6, or, you know, that's normal range. But if you're, you know, how high do your spikes have to be if you're like I was and getting, you know, a 7.8 average? Well, the spikes were pretty high. So within just a few weeks of starting the carnivore diet, I noticed that my blood sugars were starting to drop significantly. And then I actually kept taking my oral meds for the first 4 months. But then I got my A1C back from that, and it was 4.8. I stopped taking the metformin, got it rechecked about 4 months later, and it was still 4.8. So at this point, I'm going to say that my diabetes is cured. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, you haven't really cured it, you've just put it into remission. Well, if your dog gets sick because you had a container of antifreeze in the garage that was leaking, and your dog was out there licking the antifreeze, and you got rid of the leaky bottle of antifreeze, and your dog got better, would you say that you put your dog's poisoning into remission, or did you cure him of his poison? Because you're not intentionally going to give him more antifreeze at some point in the future, are you? Well, that's the same thing here. You're not really going to go back to dumping carbs down your neck, because as Professor K has taught us, diabetes is elevated blood glucose, type 2 diabetes, elevated blood glucose. And the way to fix that is to stop pouring carbs down your neck. It's just that simple. Yeah, very quickly, I want to talk about the boots I'm wearing. As you can see, there's snow covering the sidewalks. It's not quite as deep as it was on Christmas Day yet, but this is Snowmageddon, as they've been saying on TV. It's supposed to keep snowing for a full 24 hours. We'll see what happens. A lot of times with these storms in Omaha, they approach the heat pocket that is Omaha, because it's such a spread out city, and they kind of break up a little bit as they're going over Omaha, and then they form back up again once they get past Omaha out into Iowa. They form back up, and there goes a four-wheel drive truck just bombing down the street. Just remember, folks, four-wheel drive helps you go when it's slippery out, but it doesn't really do anything to help you stop. But anyway, these boots, I really like them. I mean, my feet are toasty warm. I didn't have to put on any extra socks. And the traction on them is very good. I have not slipped once out here going up and down the hills around my neighborhood on a snow-covered sidewalk. I did stay closer to the house today because just in case it got really slippery out here, which it's not supposed to do now because we didn't get a big layer of ice underneath this. It's just snowing. But I want to stay close to the house so that if it did get super slippery, I could keep my walk going by stopping by the house and grabbing my spikes. So we'll see how that goes. But that's the story of my diabetes that I feel I no longer have. And it's pretty interesting. The streets. Now, we did see in yesterday's video, they came through and pre-treated the streets with de-icer. So the streets probably aren't going to cover quite as quick as the sidewalks and stuff. I'm not exactly sure why they canceled school. Well, I know why they canceled school. Everything's about being safer these days. And now the snow is smacking me in the face going back this way. So this will be fun. But anyway, I have certainly talked enough. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around. I'll have some more thoughts when I get back to the house. But for now, let's go ahead and cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. Well, here I am back at the house. As you see, I added some on up the top of the hill, and then when I got back to the house, I went down to the corner and back. That should get me pretty close to 2 miles. But I'll put my total for today right about there for you, so you know how far I'm actually going. But yeah, the best way to get rid of your diabetes, I gotta cut this out just a little more, there we go. The best way to get rid of your diabetes, folks, is just stop pouring carbs down your neck. Now, if you're on injectable meds or even oral meds, you should probably reduce them with the help of a physician that knows how to do it. Remember, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I'm just an old retired truck driver, so don't listen to me. Listen to somebody who knows how to cut down your insulin medications properly. But yeah, I feel really good, guys. I mean, if you go back and watch some of my videos from late January, early February last year, I don't think there was a single video in February where I didn't complain about how cold it was in North Carolina. And it was not this cold. I think part of the extra year of adaptation is that my body just does not notice the elements nearly as much as it used to. And I think that's a good thing. I think just getting out here walking in the cold is not only doing good for my body, but doing good for my mental state. So I don't have to go look at the thermometer and go, oh my gosh, it's below 30 degrees. It's cold out. I don't want to go out and do that. That's part of what this January No Excuses Walking Challenge is all about. Regardless of the weather, I'm going to get out here and walk every day. I hope some of what I said today made sense. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.